This is Greg Kelly. Donate now to Toys for Tots, which works year-round. Go to toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots supports children in need throughout the year with programs like the Toys for Tots Literacy Program. Established in 2008, it has provided over 63 million books to disadvantaged children. The Toys for Tots Literacy Program is committed to providing disadvantaged children with direct access to books and educational resources that enhance their ability to read and communicate effectively. Go to toysfortots.org.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Sharri Markson is an Australian journalist and author, and again, a dear friend of Miranda Devine. She is investigations editor at The Australian. She hosts Sky News Australia, which the name of the show is Sharri. That airs 8 to 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday. She's the winner of numerous awards in journalism, including 2 Walkley Awards. She was born and raised in Sydney with a Y, Australia, to Jewish parents, and she they just aired her documentary on that tragedy during Hanukkah on Bondi Beach. So let's get right to her. Sharri, good morning in New York. I have no idea what time it is in Australia, but happy Tuesday to you.
Good morning. Good morning, Sid. I'm sure it's a beautiful, crisp day there in New York. It's nighttime here in Australia.
It is nighttime. How many hours ahead are you?
I think it's about 12 or 13. So
okay. So
9 o'clock at night.
Oh, so you're actually 14 hours ahead. 14 if it's 9 o'clock at night. And I have a couple of friends who are on this show. They call in live from Australia. You must know them. One is Tali Shine. And the other, who was actually on the day after the Bondi Beach Massacre, is a dear friend of mine, Erin Molan. I'm sure you know both of them, yes?
Of course, very well, indeed.
2 great journalists like you are. So you did this documentary. I remember it very, very well. First night of Hanukkah, the last thing you'd ever imagine on a beautiful beach in Australia would be terrorists arriving on the beach with guns. I think 15 people were murdered that day. Some of them had New York ties, including a very famous rabbi. Take me back to that day. It's Hanukkah, the beginning of Hanukkah. All these Jewish people are celebrating on a very popular tourist beach. And the next thing you know, there's blood and death.
Look, as you say, it was the first night of Hanukkah. This is an annual celebration right on Bondi Beach, the most famous beach in Australia, the middle of summer, 30-degree afternoon, just the most beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky. There were about 1,000 Jews who went to the Hanukkah festival at Bondi. There was another one up the road. I was at the one up the road with my family, this one right on Bondi Beach. And, you know, Sid, we don't have gun crime in Australia. We don't have shootings. We're not used to this. I mean, no one should ever be used to this. This is the first ever terrorist attack that was a mass shooting in Australia. Unheard of, especially for Sydney, for Bondi Beach. And the Jewish community, there were children having their faces painted. There was a petting zoo. There were rides, donuts, of course, jam donuts, kosher food, just the most beautiful Hanukkah celebration. And then out of nowhere, 2 gunmen turned up and it became this deadly massacre. And, you know, a lot of people think 15 people died, but it was actually a lot worse than that, because in total there were more than 50 who were shot, and many of those who were injured still haven't recovered. There are still people in hospitals, still people who are, you know, will never recover from. So yes, it's 15 who technically lost their lives, but the impact is far greater. And of course, one of those who was killed was a 10-year-old girl. A 10-year-old girl who, you know, was at the petting zoo with little baby animals when the shooting began, and she just couldn't get to her parents. And that's the hardest thing, to think that these shooters hate Jews so much. This is a global problem, Sid. They hate Jews so much that they saw and took aim and killed a child because she's Jewish.
Listen, I know today is my daughter Ava's 22nd birthday. I've talked about it for the better part of an hour already.
Happy birthday to her.
Thank you. And, you know, she was going to college in Wales, Cardiff University in the United Kingdom. And we took her to Israel about 2 months after the war started. She took a picture with an IDF soldier. And the next thing you know, they were handing out pamphlets at a university that this beautiful 18-year-old girl, my daughter, was a baby killer. Was a genocidal baby killer. They doxed her at a university. She had to go through harassment, hate, death threats. I got death threats too. To her credit, she stuck it out and she graduated. And now she's going to an Ivy League school here in the United States to get her final 35 credits. But she went through hell because she's Jewish. And I actually just said about an hour ago that I'm swearing off of Twitter for some time, because I can't tweet anything. There's not a story in the world. It could be about New York City. It could be about Donald Trump. It could be about the Mets, a baseball team. And every tweet comes back with, "Oh, shut up, you dirty Jew." So, you know, the idea that we're blowing things out of proportion, to your point, it is a worldwide epidemic, and it's getting sicker, Sharri, every day.
And that's the thing. You know, initially there were these woke leftists, coming together with the terrorist supporters, the Islamists, with these protests all around the world. And they pretended that they were on the side of peace and humanity. They were claiming the moral high ground. They pretended it was about Israel, and it was never about Israel. It was always about Jews. And to the extent that it was about Israel, it was because Israel is the only Jewish nation in the world. And I think what's become so clear is that since there was the ceasefire in Gaza that President Trump successfully, and to his enormous credit, negotiated when he brought home the hostages. President Trump brought home the hostages and negotiated the ceasefire. And, you know, we thought that, well, that should be the end of it. But instead, this Chanukah attack that our documentary is on, that happened after the ceasefire. That was in December. And we're still seeing this explosion in anti-Semitism globally, even when there's nothing going on in Gaza with the Palestinians. So it's become nakedly obvious that this is anti-Semitism, not about Israel. And to your point about Twitter or X, I think what the biggest worry is now, I mean, we kind of knew the Democrats had an anti-Semitism problem on their left for a long time, but now parts of the Republican movement, you know, the Tucker Carlsons, the Candace Owens, even the Megyn Kellys, are now seem to have a problem with Jews.
They're gross.
Some of them are
They're gross.
Some of them are smart enough not to come out and say anything about Jews, but what someone like Megyn Kelly does is look at who her top targets are now. They're high-profile Jews. It's Ben Shapiro, it's Mark Levin, and others. So it's turning the highest-profile Jewish commentators in America into the public enemy. And so I really worry for the future. I think we have so much to be grateful for that Trump is the president at the moment, but what's next on either side of politics? So
right. The right is terrifying. Tucker, Candace, and yeah, we knew about Ilhan Omar and AOC and Rashida Tlaib, even Jews on the left that are even more dangerous than terrorists, people like Bernie Sanders and Chuck Schumer and Jamie Raskin. But these folks on the right are really disgraceful and disgusting. The name of the of this documentary, you want to see it, is Bondi Terror: The Tragedy, the Courage, the Aftermath. And the book is also coming out, and my guest is an amazing lady, Sharri Markson. You know, even this whole conflict with Iran, all the people that are against it, they're not talking mostly about Trump. They're not talking about oil prices. They're not talking about innocent civilians that may die. What are they talking about? People are dying for Israel. Bibi wanted this war. I mean, could you imagine President Donald J. Trump taking marching orders from anybody, especially Bibi? But that's how they mask their Jewish hate, their anti-Semitism with, this isn't America's war, this is Bibi's war. And they downplay the enormous threat that Iran poses right around the world. And, you know, all the presidential candidates before each election are asked, you know, which nation poses the biggest threat. And Iran has almost always been the answer because it has been exporting terrorism globally. We've had terror attacks in Australia over the past year, orchestrated by Iran. That's what our intelligence agencies have told us. Killed thousands and thousands of people, not to mention their own regime, of course. I mean, you know all of that. But instead, there's this denial of what's going on. I mean, what do these people want?
for Iran to continue to be given billions and billions of dollars like it was done under the 2015 Barack Obama deal? Do they want it to continue getting billions of dollars until it gets a nuclear weapon? I mean, that's the last thing that needs to happen. You know, negotiations have failed, diplomacy has failed. Trump is returning America to being the leader of the free world in taking action, in dealing with Iran. He's doing the strong thing to protect all of us in Western civilization. And we have prime ministers like Albanese here in Australia who are too weak to recognize that, despite the fact that we've had Iran-orchestrated terror attacks, including firebombings of synagogues in Australia over the past year and a half. It's this shocking denial of terrorism. And you know what? I think you see it in the U.S. media as well, Sid. There almost seems to be this barracking and cheerleading for Iran. They don't want Trump to succeed.
That's right.
They don't want Israel to succeed.
That's right.
They seem to want Iran to win.
Yeah.
It's utterly absurd.
I tweeted that yesterday.
This is Roger Stone for American Sovereign Bullion. Since 2020, the U.S. dollar has lost over 20% of its purchasing power. Meanwhile, gold continues to rise. Call 844-272-2428 or go to asbgold.com now to get your free gold and silver guide and learn how to protect your wealth with physical gold and silver delivered to your door or held in a gold IRA today. So go to asbgold.com now. Don't wait for the markets to drop. That's asbgold.com.